to do it, and I think you'd love to let me. So we got an hour. We're going to talk about cannabis general news, legalization. We've got Pablo. We got Pablo Escobars, Hippos running amok. We've got cocaine, addled horses in the news. So we got stuff to talk about. I also have a little tip and hint, 5 ways to eliminate cannabis odor with Everclear. So I feel like you can eliminate anything with Everclear, but we'll talk about that. 420, we'll open a big fat bag of cannabis news. Come on with me, shall ya? Shall ya? Well, it's not as nice today as it was yesterday in the Fargo-Moorhead area, but it's nice enough. That wind's pretty wild. I almost had a pile of leaves I could jump in when I left out of my apartment this afternoon. But anyway, this show is brought to you by Black Cottage Alchemy. Black Cottage Alchemy on Facebook. 1,200 mgs of CBD, locally grown hemp, all whipped up in a furious flurry of comfrey. You got your colloidal. You got your stuff all whipped up for your outer skin body. Thank you, Black Cottage Alchemy, for sponsoring this show. I believe God created cannabis for us to use as we see fit, and I show him props every Sunday. Antioch Church, 417 Main Avenue, 10 a.m. We do a recovery class for you junkies. Come on through. We know what it takes to be clean. We believe God gives us the power. So come on through if you can dig it. At 11 a.m. we do a worship. I'm on stick duty, so it is what it is. But again, this show is brought to you by Black Cottage Alchemy. I'm Wilson. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Before me in the morning is Country with Trav. You got Stinky Arts Music Mart right after me. That's right. Then a mixtape, and then a heavy metal show at the end, and I don't know. And it's not Artemis Shrine, I know that, but I don't know what it is. So just stick around if you're into it. Hang out for that. And then, of course, there's other days of the week. So make sure you hang out then, too. So, you're listening to Radio Free Fargo, 95.9 KRFFLP Community Radio. You a business owner, manager of a nonprofit organization considering advertising? Why not learn what underwriting is on a nonprofit community radio station instead? To learn more about what underwriting is, please contact us at our website, www.radiofreefargo.org, or at our profile on Facebook. Why not let listeners know that you support the community by supporting a community radio station like 95.9er? Again, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. That's what you're locked into right now. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Next Thursday is Toiki Day. That's when a lot of bird murder happens. A lot of bird murder happening next week. Allowed, legal bird murder. Huh? Where's the paint can chucking freaks for that day? All right, I got a little carried away. But anyway, it's Bird Murder Week next week, so I'll probably be in Breckenridge. We like to go bowling. And then I drink a Virgin Shirley Temple. It's the only soda I drink all year. I do break down, and I do have a couple Shirley teas because I like the way I like the color. It's kind of a fun pink color with a little cherry floating around. I really like it. I like it. And I'm going to drink it again. So anyway, let's be thankful, shall we? Let's be thankful. Let's be thankful we have the cannabis we can have. Let's be thankful that Minnesota's now legal. That's kind of wild. What else? Ohio. Okay. So there's that, and there's this, and there's this, and there's that. And we'll talk about it 420. I wasn't here last Thursday. And I know there's a lot of broken hearts out there, and I apologize. There's really no way for me to tell you that I'm going to break your heart, to make the landing softer. But anyway, it is what it is. And so, again, we are in the season of thankfulness, and I'm thankful there's no snow on the ground. I mean, it's supposed to be 55 on Sunday. It's like, what kind of parallel, universe am I in when it's almost 60 in November? But, again, I feel like I had PTSD from last winter, so if we can kind of settle into a little casual, a little more casual of a winter, I can dig it. So, we got brand new Sublime with Rome. We're going to play that now for you. And then when we come back, we'll talk about other stuff. Cool and collected. Oh, we all chilly chill. Cool and collected, sublime, Rome, brand new, off the tangerine sky, here on KRFF 95.9 or RadioFreeFargo.org. We love you. Welcome to the airwaves where I spout pro-cannabis stuff. 420, open a big fat bag of cannabis news. Stick around for that. We got animals in the news again. That's always fun. And I didn't know this, but apparently a horse tested for cocaine, meth, and some ketamine, which, okay, that's kind of wild. It's like, what bars what bars is this horse hanging out in? Feel me? But apparently that's not uncommon. Apparently if you're a racehorse, they like to get you, your nostrils flared a little bit before they zip you around the chase the rabbit circle. So we'll talk about that at 420. I'm going to say this now, though. Programming on KRFF, LPFM, Radio Free Fargo. 95.9 is being underwritten by Flatland Guitar and Lutherie. Flatland Guitar is your full-service guitar shop and your exclusive dealer for Yamaha, Taylor, Paul, Reed Smith guitars, and other brands. They sell guitars on consignment, which basically means they'll sell your guitar, I think. They take trade-ins and have a full-service on-site repair center. Check out Flatland Guitar and Lutherie on Facebook or visit them in person at 1450 25th Street South in Fargo. Their hours are Monday through Friday, 10 to 6, or Saturdays, 10 to 5, and they're closed on the Lord's Day. Now, please consider making Radio Free Fargo 95.9 FM a part of your year-end giving. Radio Free Fargo receives no government funding. We are a nonprofit, community, all-volunteer radio station, nor, emphasis on the word nor, are we receiving any grant money. As a nonprofit, we are not allowed to do traditional advertising like commercial radio stations do, but we still needed the cash to run for you. You can make a donation, and I added that. That wasn't a part of the read. You can make a donation at our website, www.radiofreefargo.org. Simply choose the donation button. Please help Radio Free Fargo continue its mission to serve the Fargo-Moorhead area. And thank you, and good night. Well, maybe not good night. I didn't mean that last part. Come back. All right, well, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. That's what you're listening to now. We've got some time to kill here. So, this is from Cannabis Now. 5 ways to eliminate cannabis odor with Everclear grain alcohol. Now, there's a million tricks. Again, I started my experience with the Green Weasel, I'd say maybe late 80s, maybe 89, 90. Primarily of the Mexican variety. And then there was always the whisper of the greener stuff in, say, Southern California. Or, don't forget the Beaster. If you know what I mean when I say Beaster, then you know what I mean. And it was the 90s. But anyway, British Columbia seemed to like to come down south with it. And it was better than what was coming up north with it. And so odor was always a thing. Even transport, you would get some of it, it'd smell like gas. Huge gas. Because they're smuggling it, You'd get it and it'd be like, oh, it smells like oranges. Well, what did it smell like before, It's like, I don't mind a fruity floral fragrance, but I'm not buying oranges. You know what I'm saying? I didn't buy anything orangey, really. Or a lemon peel in your sack. That was classic 91. Oh, the days, right? But anyway, I don't know. It almost seemed like when you wanted to depend on whatever you thought you had to eliminate smell, it never worked. Like even now, because I'm looking at this screen here, and there's like advertising for like smoke buddies and, things that remove odor. It's a big deal. And and generally, if it's like a huge smell, I'm not saying, again, I don't mind the smell of cannabis, but it can be pretty strong. Like I said, you go to legal states, it's wild. It's wild. Even walking on Broadway, I can tell when some guy's rocking his window open or not, or in the car. And it's not a big deal, but, So, cannabis is known for its unmistakable smell, which is enjoyable to some, can be a concern for others. So, I didn't know that there's 5 creative and effective ways to use Everclear to eliminate the smell of cannabis. I had no idea. So, you're going to need a spray bottle and some booze. Mix equal parts Everclear water in a spray bottle. You can Google it yourself. Apparently you can add lavender, it'll evaporate, taking the cannabis odor with it. Who knew? Apparently, Everclear will refresh your furniture as well. Add a few drops of your favorite oil, and you get a nice smell. I don't know if anybody's ever made apple pie with Everclear, but I feel like that's the only way to palatably make it palatable. I think I might not have used some words right there, but hey, I don't have to use words, right? I have a disability, bruh. Get off my back, bruh. I don't even know where I'm at right now. I mean, I think it's Fargo, but it's hard to say. I know if you guys are about to kratom, I know it like really messed me up, but I was taking, way more than the suggested intake value. It said take 1, I took 100. So, I mean, it made sense that I would have acquired some sort of dependency. And I don't know that I think it should be illegal, but there is some kratom news out there. So if you about that kratom, maybe you should Google it. All right. And I think we're going to go to a musical break that's going to get us to 420. Here's brand new Marco Benevento, Coyote Hearing, live. Thank you. No, it's too much. Stop it. No, you're too kind. No, nothing else. Stop it, please. No more. Stop. Thank you. Coyote Hearing, Marco Benevento, everybody. That's his barn burner live at Levon's, or Levon. Maybe it's Levon Helm's barn. I don't even know. I'm making stuff up. But let's do this. It's Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Every Thursday, I get in here. 420, we open a big fat bag of cannabis news. And now, it's the moment of reckoning. Please, put on your seatbelt. Sit down. We'll see you in a second. Hello, everybody. Howdy. Hey. Hola. Howdy. Welcome, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. We're opening a big fat bag of cannabis news right now. It's a little after 420 because whatever. But I want to confess quickly. I usually have and I can't promote the brand because I won't, but an energy drink that has 200 mgs. But it's right next to its cousin, and that cousin has 300 mgs. And I may have drank one. So I can tell that I'm a little extra greased today, and that must be the extra 100 mgs. So bear with me as we rip through this. I might rip through a whole, hour and a half's worth of content in 5 minutes, and then I'm going to have to tell you about my toenails and the health of my skin. So hopefully I can modulate and, pace myself. That's what I'm trying to say, pace myself. So this is from Cannabis Moment. Anyway, welcome. Like I said, welcome. It's time. The time is here. Pennsylvania House approved Senate passed bill, which I think sounds good. So I feels like that's done then. It goes to the governor now. So Pennsylvania House approved Senate passed bill to let medical cannabis growers sell directly to patients. I mean, I think a lot of that should be happening, and red tape has always been a problem with me, especially, I suppose, maybe when I was born, I mean, I knew, like, my grandma, they came out of, like, the Depression era, they just, this whole, like, regulatory stuff, a lot of it just worked itself out. 2 carrots for, for some wood to put in the stove. And cannabis became that same thing. So, yeah, I don't know why there needs to be any other intermediary whatever. You grow it, I need it. Come on, bruh. Do it like that. So whatever. So it's approved the Senate passed bill. The legislation, which has been amended to further grant grower permits to independent dispensaries, cleared the chamber in a 114-89 vote. Because it was revised, it must return to the Senate, and then it'll head to the governor. So it would create a process to allow the state's 10 independent grower processors who apply to obtain a dispensary permit to engage in direct commerce with patients. So that's kind of cool. Pennsylvania has yet to enact adult use legalization. There is a growing expectation the state will eventually follow others in the region, which I must say that Ohio has passed. So now Minnesota isn't the last state. Ohio is number 24. So Maryland Republicans want to let police search cars. So we're kind of going backwards here a little bit. But Maryland Republicans want to let police search cars and people based on smell, which is a legal product in Maryland. So anyway, Republican lawmakers are aiming to undo a law. So basically you can't stop and search people based on the smell. They claim the measures put motorists at risk and took away an important tool used by law enforcement to seize people's firearms. Okay. Wait a minute. They claim that it puts motorists at risk and it took away a tool they used to take your guns. A gun-taking tool is the smell. I mean, and you don't feel bad about that, Republicans of Maryland? That sounds, you're taking away the tool used by the force to take away your bang-bangs. I don't know, man. I mean, so it's one of 5 legislative proposals that the Maryland General Assembly Joint Caucus of the Repubs. So here's what they say. There's no doubt about it. People using cannabis while riding in or operating a vehicle makes our roads less safe. But there is doubt about that. There is doubt. Show me where the doubt stems from, Mr. What's your name? Pippi? Jesse Howard. Oh, man, check this guy's. It's House Minority Whip Jesse Pippi. So Whippy Pippi. Minority Whippy Jesse Pippi. He goes, the Drug-Free Roadways Act of 2024 will remove the prohibition from stopping and searching vehicles due to the odor of cannabis. So here's the thing. Again, I just don't think we understand medically. Like, all kinds of meds are allowed and operate a motor vehicle. Certainly, like, I don't know that, like, Xanax and stuff isn't considered, like, like when you break your leg because you're an idiot, right? You fall out of the tree onto your arm because you're me, and you get your painkillers or whatever. It says you can't operate a motor vehicle, bop, 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 beep, boop, boop. But not all of them. Not all of them. They don't say you can't drive on Paxil, and stuff like that. I don't think ADD meds are the same. And high sativa strains work pretty well. So, which allows somebody that isn't focusing to focus. So, I mean, I would argue that in that case, the lack of smell in that vehicle would put the road at risk. A little bit of cannabis smell, that risk is diminished. Okay, because I'm the first one to admit I can get sidetracked in a vehicle. But if I have something, maybe caffeine, that don't always work, but caffeine can help me focus, and I become safer because I'm focusing on the stupid road. So, his cannabis moment here. Biden's Justice Department says cannabis consumers are unlikely to store guns properly in latest defense of federal ban. See, these ifs, ands, or maybes or whatever, like they just grabbing at straws. So, the Biden administration again is in federal court defending a ban preventing people who use the green from buying or having a gun, arguing that historical precedent comfortably supports the restriction. Historical precedent comfortably supports this restriction. I don't know that it does. Does it? And that cannabis consumers with guns pose a unique danger to society. They do? In part because they're unlikely to store their weapon properly before using cannabis. What? What are you going to balance it on the sink while you roll a bling bling? What are we talking about here? You're not going to double lock it before you stock it? I don't know what we're talking about here, but in a brief submitted to the U.S. Court of Appeals on Wednesday, they responded to a series of prompts from the judges asserting that the firearm ban for cannabis consumers is justified based on historical analogs to restriction on the mentally ill and habitually drunk that were imposed during the time of the Second Amendment's ratification. But several federal courts have separately deemed the cannabis-related ban unconstitutional. So there's appeals on several occasions. So, anyway, Harris Legal's reps, they submitted a supplemental brief that broadly disputes both the substances of the conviction under the statute as well as the idea that there are relevant historical analogs that uphold the existing ban. And again, I don't know. And here's another funny quote. Okay. Given the impairments caused by cannabis and other illegal drugs, like they add the other illegal drugs. Because, I mean, the impairments of cannabis, as somebody who, I mean, I'm clean over 2 years now. I mean, I've kicked more drugs than Lucky's your brother. That's just a Two Live Crew lyric. And I don't think it has anything to do with what I'm talking about. But anyway, I mean, I know what impairment is. I mean, I've been to impairment clinics. I have sailed the impairment sea, my friend. And I know what impairment is. It prevents you from being all you can be. So if I'm better me by utilizing something, and then what are we? Then it isn't an impairment. It's repairing an impairment. It's a repairment. Well, and then you add other illegal drugs. Well, sure, yeah. Given the impairment caused by other illegal drugs like fentanyl, well, I'm with it. The temporary disarmament of individuals who regularly use or are addicted to drugs fits comfortably within this nation's historical tradition of firearm regulation. So, I mean, when you put that quote next to that, then yeah, it kind of makes sense. So, they say, the danger to society posed by an armed drug user extends beyond the risk that he will mishandle firearms while under the influence of drugs. And again, I don't know. I mean, how much booze was drank this opening weekend shooting the old Bambi Club? How much booze was drank while they were wandering around with those shotguns? You know, like, I mean, it's almost celebrated. Hot 100. You know, stinking the stuff that'll burn your toes hair off. And I know people that don't even like going to North Dakota for opening weekend because they're afraid their dog will get shot because of some jumpy, trigger-happy guy. Probably lubed up with Johnny Walk. So, I don't know, you know. This stuff it's just all kind of semantics. So, let's see. The risk that a person will misuse his firearm. So, here's an example. This case is an example. Harris claimed to lose one of his firearms potentially at a bar on the same evening that he smoked cannabis and was drunk. You don't think this combo was the reason? You know? So they claim users are unlikely to put their guns away before using drugs and retrieve them only after regaining lucidity. So, and it is unclear how the government could reasonably administer a regime that permitted confiscation only during the several-hour period a person is intoxicated. See, this is crazy. So let's keep going. I don't want to skip Pablo Escobar's Hippos story. We better find that right now. Yeah, let's find that right now. Okay, this is from High Times. Pablo Escobar's hippos have been running amok. So Colombia is going to kill and sterilize the hippos. A group of hippos that escaped from the remnants of Pablo Escobar's forgotten cocaine mansion have reproduced and wrought havoc on Colombian ecosystems ever since. So Pablo Escobar died of a gunshot wound during a 1993 shootout at his hideout in Medellin. But Pablo did not go down without leaving a very strange parting gift to his homeland. A bunch of hippos that escaped his zoo became feral and started terrorizing Colombian fishing towns. Colombia is planning a cull, which basically means bang bang to the hippo, which means the selective slaughter of certain animals of a portion of the 166 hippos descended from 4 hippos which escaped from Escobar's compound after his death. They take over fishing communities, and they even invaded a schoolyard at one point, but no one was killed. Could you imagine swingy on the swingy, and all of a sudden a hippo's in your yard? No big deal. It's just how, it's what it is, man. It's what it is. It's just a hippo in my yard. Environment Minister Susana Muhammad said the Colombian government would be working to sterilize about 20 of the hippos, and they may also be forced to euthanize others. Hippos have yet to kill anybody in Colombia, but they're considered very dangerous animals. They are about 3 tons, and they kill about 500 people a year, compared to 22 killed every year by lions. And this show just ain't about cannabis. It's a science show, too. It's a zoo show. I do zoo stuff here at KRFF 95.9. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. We do zoo stuff. All right, well, let's move on. You've got your Pablo Escobar story. Now, this is interesting. This is from High Times as well. Afghan poppy harvest down 95% after Taliban opium ban. Sounds suspicious. But anyway, the U.S. withdrew from Afghanistan in February of 2020, and in August of 2021, the Taliban officially took power, which is egregious. Anyway, Afghani poppy farmers are estimated to have lost over $1 billion in value since the Taliban outlawed opium production in April 2022. So I feel like, this could easily have been just like a table discussion with Mr. Fentanyl and the China thing. Because really, fentanyl can work just fine in replacement for opium. And some people would argue it's better. I mean, if you're a fentanyl addict, you don't care about opium anymore. And again, you would probably prefer it because if you do the other, you don't know how much the other's in your other. It could be another, brother. So it's like, well, I'd rather just go with what I know that it is. Give me all the bad stuff. Don't give me some of the good stuff with a little of the bad stuff. I don't know what we're doing anymore. Just give me all the bad stuff. So anyway, the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime issued a press release Sunday that the drastic drop in opium production could have devastating and far-reaching consequences for the rural communities of Afghanistan and on the international supply of opium derivatives such as heroin. Well, why would we care about that? So apparently what I'm learning here, opium production in Afghanistan is down. Cocaine production, on the other hand, in Colombia is way up. Way up. And fentanyl, which we can just call the better opium, production is way up in China. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm telling you what the truth is. Truth is that the Taliban said no more. And it's kind of a publicity stunt, too, in a sense. You're like, oh, God bless them Taliban, God bless them out there doing the Lord's work, cutting all that devil opium down, But then they are in an agreement. They're getting kickbacks because they wanted to elevate China's fentanyl production. Pooh Bear probably said it. Hey, I'll give you bop, 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 bop if you just... And then you take a political stance, Hey, we're against opium here. We're the Taliban and we hate opium. Well, I mean, everything isn't always what you think it is. Feel me? And I don't think that's the case here, because I don't know. So let's keep going. What do we got? Okay, well, we've got to tell this story before I get out of here. This is from High Times as well. Horse tests positive for cocaine, meth, ketamine after winning the race. Well, that's no surprise, huh? I don't see that surprising. You get your horse jacked up on a speedball concoction, and you're surprised he won? I'm surprised he only ran one race, I mean, this horse was so fast, he did 2 races while he's waiting. He's like, what, you guys, I just ran another race, Has anybody got something to drink? I'm thirsty. So, here's what we learned. Apparently, racehorses actually test positive for coke with surprising regularity, people. What? And horse owners have been getting their equine companions high since, you guessed it, the Roman Empire. Now, I don't know how many of y'all knew that, but I didn't. I mean, you getting high with your horse? What? Okay, so the owner of a racehorse that won a race last month in Malta has been fined after the horse tested positive for several different drugs. According to the Times of Malta, they fined the owner of a 6-year-old mare named Helena Gibe after the horse tested positive for coke, meth, ketamine, and stanozolol, which is a synthetic steroid. The owner, whose identity was not released, was also barred from entering any other races for at least 2 years. Well, that was nice. I mean, take a couple of years off anyway, huh? Put your horse in rehab. Come back stronger, bro. You can do it, Alina. So anyway, this horse reportedly outran 9 other horses at the Marsa racetrack on October 1st. A urine sample was taken the day of the race and sent off to Laboratoire des Courses Hippiques, a French laboratory, of course, for testing as part of a regular anti-doping measure set forth by Equestre Malta, the regulatory board for Maltan equine sports. They're testing their horses in Malta, y'all. What? I mean, you're lucky to be listening to this show. No, I mean, who's covering this? Okay, so that urine test came back with a positive reading for the aforementioned list of drugs. Drug tests are routinely carried out on the winners of races, and other contenders are chosen via a random lottery system. So, at least 2 of the substances found in the urinalysis, coke and meth to be exact, were considered to be among the most serious rule breaches. Okay. They took specific measures to ensure incidents like this did not happen, including an increased number of required anti-doping tests and financial assistance to the club to ensure testing. Basically, financial assistance to the Malta Racing Club is basically workman's comp in disguise. Basically. The owner was given until Monday to contest the findings. Well, how can you? If the owner chose not to contest, a report was to be filed with Malton law enforcement. The horse was born in France and has raced 13 other times this year. She placed first in 2 of those and placed second in 4 of them. Apparently, cocaine works very similarly on horses as it does on humans, in that it gives them increased bursts of energy and numbs any muscular pain they may be experiencing. The Times article said horse owners using cocaine to cheat races is actually somewhat common, but it does not happen in Malta as often. Malta, which is a small island tucked in the Med Sea between Sicily and the North African coast, has seen 4 cases involving horses testing positive for illegal substances in the last 8 years. The most recent example was a 3-year-old Queensland horse named End Assembly that tested positive for cocaine after winning the $200,000 grand prize at a feature race last December. The horse trainer and his son, Mark and Ben, were both found guilty of being charged of a racehorse with prohibited substance in his system. Another horse trained by the Curries had previously tested positive for coke as well. Now, they're big bone, they're big. Okay, they're big. All right, so how much coke does a woodchuck need if a horse is going to snort coke? Or does he need a gram? I mean, what's a horse's tolerance? And how do you know when he's good, right? How do you know when he's good? I don't know. I mean, stop giving your horses coke for the love of everything holy. Beyond that, cases of humans using drugs on horses go all the way back to the Roman Empire, when crucifixion was handed out as a punishment for treating horses with hydromel, which is essentially beer. Arsenic doping of horses was also somewhat common in the 1800s. A stable boy was even hung for giving arsenic to a horse in 1812. In 1912, swabs were made available that tested racehorses for common stimulants and painkillers at the time, like caffeine, theobromine, and morphine. Horse doping really took off after pool betting was legalized in 1933 as well, with some estimates putting the number of doped-up racehorses well over 50% at the time. So, for every 2 horses, 1 was doped up. That's crazy. So the owner had to return any prizes won, suspended from the club, and he's transferring the horse and banned from transferring the horse while under suspension. Helena Jibbe was suspended from racing for 1 year following the incident, which seems a little unfair because as far as I know, horses are not capable of preparing and ingesting drugs. But with how often it seems to be happening, maybe the horses like it. So Ohio Governor DeWine hatches plan to whittle down adult use law voters approve. And again, you're listening to Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Every Thursday I get in here, 420, open a big fat bag of cannabis news. We're wrapping it up here, though, on KRFF 95.9. I won't be back next Thursday because it's turkey murder. It's the day of the bird murders. So we'll be murdering birds next Thursday, so I won't be in the studio. I know at least 4 broken hearts out there, but hey, put a Band-Aid on it, bruh. Buck up. And then 2 Thursdays, I'll be back. We'll be full into the holiday swing. I might have to dust off some ho, ho, ho. Oh, I love that song. But anyway, so this Republican. And here's the thing. Issue 2, which allowed legal cannabis in Ohio. And since, and I'm quoting, is a citizen initiative. Ohio lawmakers could lawfully make changes to the law, but they only have about a month to do so. And I didn't realize there was a time ticking. I didn't realize you had a time ticket. So DeWine is already plotting to change Ohio's cannabis weed law, or legal cannabis law. My recommendation to the General Assembly is that they take action to make sure that both rights are protected. People have a right to smoke it, people have a right to consume it, but also that everybody else who doesn't choose to do so is also protected with their rights as well. The people who fought hard to campaign for issue 2 are ready for a battle. I can't believe in 2023 we're actually talking about elected officials not respecting the will of the voters and not respecting the outcome of the election. But we've seen this, folks. I mean, we've seen it in South Dakota. We've seen it in North Dakota, South Dakota. It's happening. So, cannabis moment. South Dakota lawmakers reject effort to ban flavorings in medical cannabis products. I don't know, South Dakota lawmakers swatted back an attempt to ban flavoring in cannabis edibles and vape products. They also shot down a rule that would have forced cannabis manufacturers to test the rolling papers used to make pre-rolls, also known as joints, in addition to test the pot inside them. The rules were part of a 31-page set of proposed adjustments. Voters approved a ballot, ... So, medical program director told lawmakers that not all cannabis additives represents a danger. Lee pointed to a paper from the Oregon Liquor Control Commission, which regulates cannabis in the state, and they describe dangers of artificial or naturally derived non-cannabis flavors for inhalable vaping products. And the paper pointed to serious side effects for those who vape heated cannabis oil. Inhaling this stuff is horrible for the lungs. We just want to be extra safe. The rule would have barred the use of non-cannabis terpenes, natural and synthetic aromatic chemicals. And they said flavored cough medicine, vitamins, beverages, other products use many of the same compounds used to flavor gummies and other edibles. We eat flavored items every day, which it ain't good. Natural flavors, don't eat it. Even flavors as common as sugar, coconut oil would be barred under the rules. Well, that's stupid. And they say if Oregon outlawed it in inhalables, why are we doing it for all products? I mean, because it's not all the same, you know. You eat, you inhale, whatever, man. Whatever, man. Okay, what do we got now? What do we got now? We got this, and then I'll fade off, I think. High time. Study shows people are ditching over-the-counter sleep aids using cannabis instead. A recent peer-reviewed study has produced data showing that people who struggle with sleep are favoring cannabis. And I think it's better. I mean, I've tried them all. I mean, even Benadryl. So 60% of people who use cannabis alone was able to fall asleep and stay asleep for at least 6 hours, compared to only 20% who use alternatives. One of the findings that surprised me was the fact that people are seeking the terpene myrcene in cannabis to assist with sleep. There's some evidence in the scientific literature to support that myrcene may help to promote sleep. So cannabis users seem to have figured that out on their own. Let's see. Fewer headaches, less nausea in the morning. They indicated they were more sleepy, anxious, and irritable in the mornings following the use of cannabis as a sleep aid. Participants were more likely to report red eyes and thirst, less likely to report nausea or anything else compared to other sleep aids. So I wanted to tell you this. First director of University of Minnesota Cannabis Research Center on studying the impacts of cannabis legalization in Minnesota. I feel like that might be a little early, but whatever. So, thank you for joining me. It's been another fun one. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson's 420 open bag of cannabis news. We now get set up for a song. But I want to tell you first, the programming on 95.9 Radio Free Fargo, KRFFLP is being underwritten by Drummer's Journey. Drummer's Journey offers percussion instruments, hardware, electronics, accessories, and more. They have full service for drummers, including repair, custom building, and lessons. Drummer's Journey is located at Highway 10 East Mall in Moorhead, Minnesota. Their hours are Monday through Thursday, 11 to 7. Fridays and Saturdays, 11 to 5. Sundays, noon to 5. For more info, check Drummer's Journey. They have a profile on Facebook. Now, it's my pleasure to bring to you 8-piece box, Southern Culture on the Skids. Piece box, Southern Culture on the Skids. Here, KRFF 95.9 LPFM, RadioFreeFargo.org, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. That's me. We're heading to the top of the hour here, directly after Stinky Arts Music Mart, and boy, is it extra stinky in here today. So you're in for a treat. I'm in for a stinky treat. You know, if you have a few, nose hairs in your nose you want to get rid of, breathe it in this next hour. We got Stinky Arts Music Mart on deck. I'm out the door here. This show is brought to you by Black Cottage Alchemy. Black Cottage Alchemy on Facebook. 1,200 mgs of locally grown CBD in the tub of gooey, ooey goodness for any external issues you might have. I believe God created cannabis for us to use as we see fit, and I worship Him every Sunday. Antioch Church, 417 Main Avenue, 10 a.m. We do a recovery class. If you got a monkey on your back, or you've kicked the monkey off your back, but you can feel him still kind of tugging at your pant leg, I feel you. Come through, we can help you. 11 a.m. worship. I'm on stick duty. Bang, bang, boogie. Anyway, educate yourselves on the benefits of cannabis so you can educate others on said benefits. I'm out of here. Be thankful. It's turkey murder next week, so I won't be in. I'll be eating some murdered bird for the team. For the team. And then I'll be back 2 Thursdays then. And boy, we're heading into full holiday mode by then. So anyway, I'm out of here. Stinky Arts Music Mart is next. But right now, Judgment Day, David Allen. Peace.